Welcome back to the 90 More Podcast. My name is Kossi. Welcome back to a brand new video. Chelsea have beaten AC Milan 3-0 in the UEFA Champions League. My prediction was very close. I said it was going to be 2-0 in favor of Chelsea. Graham Potter, ladies and gentlemen, has arrived. We have seen Graham Potter ball. We have seen what he's capable of. We have seen what this Chelsea side are going to be doing right from this moment up to the end of Graham Potter's career. And I'm going to say I'm really impressed. I'm going to say I'm really scared about this Chelsea side. Most of these players are not Graham Potter players. Most of them will have to make way. Most of them will have to leave. But if Graham Potter gets his true team, if he's given time, sign his team, organize it, arrange it, and manage it, we're going to have big problems with Chelsea. We're going to be diving into my match reaction. Make sure you hit the like button. You subscribe to the podcast as well. Chelsea fans, talk to me in the comment section. Are you happy? Are you convinced it was total domination? AC Milan really didn't have any chances in this game for me. They didn't have any chance on the ball. It was all about Chelsea. The script was written earlier, and today was it was just a massacre, the execution of a massacre that we have seen from Chelsea. Now, I say this in the preview that Graham Potter needs time, and we know what he wants to do as a manager. We know the philosophy. We know that he has the idea. We know that he has a clear path of where he wants to take this Chelsea side. But it's going to take some time. But the question, and I think this was always going to be the biggest point, can Graham Potter work under pressure? Can Graham Potter take all these difficulties into consideration? Many games in October. The team is doing very poorly in the UEFA Champions League, and there's a lot of pressure from the likes of Man United, Man City, Liverpool in the Premier League. Can he work under all that pressure and still deliver? And at the same time, he's still signing his own players. At the same time, he's still working to bring all these players to carve out a responsible starting 11 and find the right team. For me, he has just answered that question on this evening. He's just answered us in a very, very spectacular way. 3-0 against AC Milan. Look, it's not the biggest result for me in Europe, but for Chelsea, it's the biggest result they have picked up this campaign. Now, they have not won a game of football before in the UEFA Champions League this campaign, losing one and drawing one. So they massively needed to beat AC Milan. If they didn't beat AC Milan, that would have meant they had to win 3 out of 3 of their remaining fixtures. That would have made it a little bit harder. And for me, if they had not won today, I would have declared them out of the UEFA Champions League. But now they have 4 points. I think they are confident, and they will definitely get out of that group. So Graham Potter, a masterclass, another masterclass. I've looked at Stefan Pioli's side, AC Milan, especially in the first half, and I was disgusted by the quality they showed. But I think it's two-way. It's either Milan were too poor today, it's either Milan were absolutely disgusting today, or Chelsea were absolutely very, very good. And I'm going to go with the positive side rather than the negative. I think clubs in the UK, clubs in the Premier League, especially in the UEFA Champions League, do not get the credit they deserve. Today, Chelsea have been absolutely mind-blowing. Today, Chelsea have been absolutely well-managed, well-coached. They followed a clear script, and it actually worked out. He played Loftus-Cheek and Kovacic in midfield. Now, many Chelsea fans looking at the lineup probably could have gone, he's not played a defensive midfielder in such a high-profile game, in such a high-intensity game. You have the likes of Sandro Tonali in midfield. You have the likes of Ismail Benassia in midfield for Milan. You thought you needed some guy to batter them out. You needed someone, like Jorginho, that kind of DM holding midfielder. And decided he's not going to play any of those. He played through ideally central midfielders in Loftus-Cheek and Kovacic. They controlled the game very well. Look, we have to talk about the change of formation. We predicted a 4-2-3-1, and he played a back three. Now, I didn't see this coming. But this shows you the traits of a very good manager. This shows you the traits of a manager that understands the game. If you're going to play AC Milan, They have the likes of Rafa Leao, the likes of Sandro Tonali in midfield. They have the likes of Selemakers, so they are able to keep the ball. They are able to bring the ball to you, and they are able to win the midfield battles. What you do is you make sure first and foremost you don't concede, and that back five idea was absolutely spot on. Thiago Silva, Khalidou Koulibaly playing for the first time under Graham Potter, and then Wesley Fofana, and then the wing backs Chilwell over Marc Cucurella. Who would have thought about that? Chilwell over Marc Cucurella, and then for me, James again played very well, scored another brilliant goal. This boy is going to be one of the greatest right backs in the Premier League this season, and one of the greatest right backs for England in the World Cup. He's so good. So for me, the idea of playing a back five just meant I think he was cautious, and this is this is kind of basics for every manager. And I get amused with managers like Stephen Cooper. You're conceding lots of goals, and you cannot tell your team, let's go back to the basics. First and foremost, let's start off by stopping conceding, and then we go ahead. That is what Graham Potter has done in this game. Play back five quality defenders. There was no way. Look, I thought Milan created a few chances. One chance in that game. One chance, one big chance, and one big miss. And of course, with a goalkeeper like Kepa Arrizabalaga, you need something special to beat him. It's going to take something special to beat him. And the moment Milan didn't capitalize on that opportunity to grab the equalizer at halftime, I knew the game was done and dusted. I knew the game was over. Now, the statistics show 52% ball possession for Chelsea. It was worse than that. It was better than that. Chelsea did not feel threatened, especially in the second half. There was no threat from Milan. There was no, Milan was struggling to join one or two passes together. And that comes from Chelsea. That comes from the game plan. Make it uncomfortable for them. You have to work harder than them, and you have to be the better side. Keep the ball better. When you lose it, win it back as soon as possible. Actually, if I'm the guy writing those statistics, I'm giving Chelsea a 75% ball possession. I didn't see Milan today, and typically it was because of Chelsea. Look, if Milan were poor and Chelsea were poor, this game could have gone 1-0. It could have gone 2-1 in favor of Chelsea or any other side. But right from the first minute, I saw it. It was going for Chelsea. Chelsea were going to win it, and there was nothing AC Milan could do about it. So let's talk about the goals. First and foremost, I still think the first goal is a very, very poor mistake from AC Milan. You cannot defend like that. Wesley Fofana, for me, is lucky. It drops for him. It falls kindly into his path. And then the finish is very, very cool. But in my opinion, you cannot defend like that. Thiago Silva has a free header in your penalty area, in a corner situation. In a dead ball situation, Thiago Silva is unmarked. It was absolutely disgusting. So the first goal probably doesn't come from Chelsea's brilliance, but it comes from AC Milan's lack of that defending knowledge. But let's talk about the move that leads to the goal, because that is where Chelsea have been brilliant all evening. When they get the ball, they look to be very direct. They look to be very incisive. They look to be very deadly. It's not the Chelsea side that we are used to, passing the ball around, keeping it safe. They keep the ball, but they're not creating any chances. In this game, whenever they were within 20 yards, whenever they were within 30 yards, you felt something was coming. So many corners in this game. It shows you Milan were actually living very, very dangerously. Let's talk about the second goal. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Again, I think Milan are disappointing there because the ball is played across. It goes. It looks like it's going into a throw-in, but it doesn't go. Reece James stops it from going into a throw-in. There must be someone stopping Reece James from crossing that ball, taking his time, picking up his head, and getting in a very beautiful cross. Someone should be stopping him. And then Fikayo Tomori makes the worst mistake in the world. I don't know what he's trying to do there, Tomori. I really don't know what he's doing. Reece James whips in the ball. I think there's so many big chances for him to clear that ball than to miss it. He could put it out for a corner. One, He could just hit it and fall in no man's land. He could just do anything. But he tries the most difficult technique in the penalty area. He misses it, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, he doesn't miss those. Look, we'll talk about Aubameyang when he misses chances. We'll talk about Aubameyang when Chelsea get frustrated with him. He doesn't miss those chances, right? And that is where the game runs away. But again, it comes from Chelsea pressing so high. It comes from Chelsea being direct. It comes from Graham Potter telling them, you are a big side. You are a big club. Stop all this kind of nonsense. Conceding goals against Milan, conceding goals against Dinamo Zagreb, conceding goals against the likes of Red Bull Salzburg. You're a big club. Start acting up. And the third goal, beautiful goal. It reminds me of Leandro Trossard's goals under Graham Potter at Brighton, and of course, it just reminds me of that hat trick Leandro Trossard scored against Liverpool for Brighton in the weekend. It's that kind of football that it flows from one end to the other, and that is Graham Potter football. The football is flowing from one end to the other. You can clearly see what they're trying to do, and in the end, they will be patient, they will be quick, they will be sharp, they will get those opportunities. For me, Reece James, good finish, in my opinion. Raheem Sterling, very good weighted ball. The finish is genius, right? Because, again, Reece James as a right back, he has options. He can cross it back. He can hit it straight at the goalkeeper. Decides to go for the top corner. Near post, top corner. No goalkeeper saves that. So for me, Chelsea have been absolutely brilliant. Look, I wish I could get your opinions. We'll do more of these probably in the future live. Get your opinions, Chelsea fans. Get your opinions, Arsenal fans, and all the other clubs. But I think Chelsea fans, you must be very excited. Graham Potter has arrived. A manager that has a clear philosophy, a manager that is for a long-term project, and a manager that clearly is working with a specimen. Because many of these Chelsea players are warm bodies and specimen. They're neutral players, bro. You have the likes of Christian Pulisic. For me, they should go. The likes of Hakim Ziyech, they should be out. A couple of Chelsea players are just specimen. So he's working with this group of players that even doesn't know whether they will work out. And you can see he has already brought his hand. He's already created a mark of this football on them. Beautiful football from Chelsea. Very, very poor football from AC Milan. Now, in the other games, I looked at Manchester City 5, Copenhagen 0. Haaland was very close to scoring another hat-trick. Pep Guardiola limited that from happening. It took him off in the 46th minute. So, literally, he took him off at half time. Who can stop Erling Haaland? That's the big question everyone is going to have to ask themselves in the future. Who can stop Erling Haaland? This boy is a freak. This boy is a cheat code. Again, 2 goals within 30 minutes for Erling Haaland, and it is job done for Manchester City. I really doubt City will fail to pick up points anymore again with Erling Haaland, unless he picks up a long-term injury, unless something like that. They didn't have Kevin De Bruyne today, and they played like that was their second 11. They played like it was their first 11. It's interesting. PSG drew 1-1 with Benfica. Messi scored again. Messi's on fire, by the way. But they lost points. Benfica not an easy side, in my opinion. But they're not a side that PSG should be losing points against, dropping points against. But it went 1-0. Madrid 2-1 against Shakhtar Donetsk. Vinicius again, my boy, scoring again, and Rodrigo. So many of the Champions League results have not actually been shocking. Apart from Dortmund hitting Sevilla 4-1, Karim Adeyemi, my boy, coming onto the score sheet again. I think that's the only shocking result I've seen today. Juve did win their first game of the campaign in the UCL. 3-1, Dusan Vlahovic, and a brace from Adrian Rabiot. I'll see you soon in the next one. We'll be covering the Premier League, of course, Premier League reactions, Premier League previews, and my weekend predictions coming up on Friday. I'll see you soon. Europa League tomorrow. Make sure you also watch out for that.